4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
In a packed church in a poor Cairo neighborhood, the mourners grieve for their dead. 5 Christians mowed down by masked gunmen as they arrive for a wedding.
Maryam.
Khalil Masiha lost 2 of his granddaughters in the attack. Maryam was just 8 years old. I found little Maryam. She was hit by 14 bullets, he said. A little girl hit by 14 bullets. The shooting was the latest in a wave of attacks against Egypt's Christian minority, which makes up about 10% of the country's population. Christians say they are being targeted by hardliners in the Muslim Brotherhood after they backed the military's crackdown on the Islamic group. It's a charge the Muslim Brotherhood denies. But since the crackdown, more than 50 churches have been burned or looted.
All right, folks, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. Glad you're aboard. Thursday edition, if you could believe that. And I decided to buck the trend and lead with the murder of more Christians in Egypt. CBS News with a report in last night's report, CBS Evening News. Kudos to them. Shame on them for calling them Muslim Brother hardliners. Hardliners? A hardliner doesn't slaughter people. Animals slaughter people. A hardliner is someone who sticks to their party's, principles. That's a hardliner. At the very least, they're terrorists. In reality, they're animals. I know. Don't send the letters saying stop insulting animals. Animals would never do that to one another. I understand that. Not to their own, anyway. Here's the next cut from the CBS Evening News last night and the horrific attacks on Christians by the radical Islamic animal Muslim Brotherhood.
The Church of the Virgin Mary in Al-Nazla, a small village a few hours outside of Cairo, was attacked last August when a large crowd burst through the gates and ransacked the compound.
According to guards who were here that night, once the church had been completely looted, the mob then began pelting it with Molotov cocktails until the entire structure was consumed by the flames.
By the time it was safe for caretaker Fauzi Saad to return, there was almost nothing left of the 400-year-old church. It was very painful because this is a heritage site, he said, and it's very precious to us. No one claimed responsibility for the attack, but Saad told us he blames the Muslim Brotherhood. He says the church had received threats from them before.
Yeah, Barack Obama's buddies, the Muslim Brotherhood. Barack Obama's favorite group, the Muslim Brotherhood. Favorite group in Egypt, certainly. It is insane. It is a crime, a crying shame. What is going on in Egypt right now, what's going on in Syria, what's going on in Arab countries all over the world, and in African countries all over the world, where Muslims slaughter Christians. When will it stop? Well, maybe if we had a president and a Secretary of State who gave a darn, they'd say something. But they don't. They don't care. And I guarantee you, if it were the other way around, if one mosque were ransacked and destroyed by Christians in any of these countries, you would hear our State Department and maybe even Barack Obama himself condemn it. But this 400-year-old church, it wasn't good enough. They destroyed the whole thing. Then they started throwing Molotov cocktails at it. Why? Because they despise it. Because it's an affront to them. Because if you're not Muslim, then you're filth, you're death, you're pigs. Good old Muslim Brotherhood, Barack Obama's buddies. What could I say? It is what it is. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to a report done by CNN talking about the early testing of the Obamacare website. And this flies in the face of Marilyn Taverner and her testimony the other day when she said, "Oh, we tested it and it was fine." Here's cut number 35.
We've learned the website failed with a small test pool of 200 to 300 people that included employees from the government and insurance companies. The government employees worked at their own computers and desks within the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which oversaw the healthcare implementation. According to sources familiar with the process, CMS employees were provided fake personal information to enter into healthcare.gov rather than their own data and were given a date that testing would begin. However, on that date, the employees were told it was being postponed. When the testing finally took place in late September, the testers started trying to create an application. Just a couple of pages into the process, everything ground to a stop, says one source. It froze. It couldn't go forward. It crashed.
With 200 people. By the way, that's CBS. That's Cheryl Atkinson. That's not CNN yet, okay? You believe this? Of course you believe it, because the Obama administration official testified to the opposite. So whatever they say, you take as a lie, and you go with the opposite. And here's cut. Whatever they say, you take as a lie, and you go with the opposite. And here's cut. Do we have cut 36?
A couple of days later, testers tried again and had.
Do we have cut 36?
A couple of days later, testers tried again and was unequivocally clear from testing this wasn't ready, says a source close to the testing. The account is in stark contrast to the testimony yesterday from Marilyn Taverner, the head of CMS. She testified under oath she had no idea prior to October 1st that the problems were so bad.
We had tested the website and we were comfortable with its performance. The volume issue and the creation of account issues was not anticipated and obviously took us by surprise and did not show up in testing.
One question this raises, Scott, was the head of CMS unaware of results of testing that took place inside her own agency just days before the launch?
Of course, she was unaware of testing that took place inside her own agency. Of course. Now to CNN, Drew Griffin. Listen to this, cut 30.
So, Drew, what's going on here? What have you learned?
Anderson, what's going on is behind-the-scenes attempt by the White House to at least keep insurers from publicly criticizing what is happening under this Affordable Care Act rollout. Basically, if you speak out, if you are quoted, you're going to get a call from the White House, pressure to be quiet. Several sources tell me, and my colleague Chris Freitz, that insurance executives are being told to keep quiet. Bob Lazuski, who heads the Health Policy and Strategy Associates, a consulting firm for big insurance and an outspoken critic of Obamacare, says he is getting calls from these executives who want him to speak out, Anderson, for them about the problems because they feel defenseless against the White House PR team. Lazuski told me today the White House is exerting massive pressure on the industry, including the trade associations, to keep quiet. The source is telling us they feared White House retribution.
All right, here's the next cut, 31.
About the fact that clarifications were made to the Affordable Care Act after the law was passed, and those clarifications are forcing the insurance industry to drop insurance plans that do not meet Obamacare requirements. And those clarifications are forcing the insurance industry to drop insurance plans that do not meet Obamacare requirements. Those are the people, Anderson, who are being dropped. And despite all the rhetoric, from the president, you simply cannot keep your current health care plan if it does not meet these requirements. Lazuski says the insurance industry is embarrassed about canceling the plans, but in an interview last week, he told me the administration was warned about this very scenario and ignored the advice.
When the regulations were being put together, people in the insurance industry said, you're being overly regulatory, you're requiring too many things, you're making this too complicated, you're not letting people keep their plans who have them now. And the Obama administration decided to do it the way the Obama administration was going to do it. One of the things I think that's clear here is the Obama administration has no trust in anything the health insurance industry tells them about how to run a health plan. And I think the administrative mess you're seeing right now is indicative of what happens when somebody tries to run somebody else's business who thinks they're smarter than you are.
All right, folks, we're coming back with more Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Men, this is the time in your life when you have more freedom to travel, more time for leisure, including an active lifestyle, even a renewed intimacy. The last thing you want is the hassle of an aging prostate. Frequent trips to the bathroom also keep you awake at night. But here's good news. Renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein believes that prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. Learn more about how you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit prostaterevive.com/special for complete details. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate, while supplies last. Try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/special. That's prostaterevive.com/special.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
6029.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Now, it is also true that some Americans who have health insurance plans that they bought on their own through the old individual market are getting notices from their insurance companies suggesting that somehow because of the Affordable Care Act, they may be losing their existing health insurance plans. This has been the latest flurry in the news. Because there's been a lot of confusion and misinformation, I want to explain just what's going on.
Dr. Obama's going to explain just what's going on, how lucky they were in Boston last night before the World Series victory by the Red Sox, of course. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. But before we let Dr. Obama explain it all to us, let me tell you Dr. Obama's latest poll numbers. They are in the proverbial toilet. And these poll numbers, the poll was taken through October 28th, which means the revelations by the networks, I mean, we all knew this, but the revelations by the networks that he lied for 3 years about keeping your insurance policy, and the explanation you're going to hear from Dr. Obama in a minute, the poll was all done before any of that. So you could expect the poll to continue to tank into the toilet. Got that? Okay. So, by the way, the numbers, let's tell you what, it's an NBC Wall Street Journal poll. And it showed that his job approval rating is down to 42%, the lowest ever. The lowest ever in that poll. It's an 11-point drop from January. 11-point drop from January and 5-point drop from just last month. His disapproval rating is now higher than his approval rating. Disapproval for the health care law shot up to 47%, 10 points ahead of the approval rating, and his likability, Barack Obama's likability, is now down, way, way down. It took a big hit. Usually, they'll give him an approval rating, but his likability is way up. His likability is way down. Why? Because for 3 years he lied. By the way, what is a lie? Do we have cut 38 real quick here to slip in? Here's George Costanza to tell us when it's a lie and when it's not a lie.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
All right. So, that's all Dr. Obama has to say is he believed it. And then according to George Costanza, he gets a clean bill of health. Clean bill of health. Get it? Doctor talk, All right. Let's listen in on Dr. Obama explaining how it's the evil insurance companies that are to blame, and you stupid people who had those stupid inadequate insurance policies in the first place, you deserve to have them go away. Here's cut number 13.
One of the things health reform was designed to do was to help not only the uninsured but also the underinsured. And there are a number of Americans, fewer than 5% of Americans, who've got cut rate plans that don't offer real financial protection in the event of a serious illness or an accident. Remember, before the Affordable Care Act, these bad apple insurers had free rein every single year to limit the care that you received or use minor pre-existing conditions to jack up your premiums or bill you into bankruptcy. So a lot of people thought they were buying coverage, and it turned out not to be so good.
Yeah, the man who tells us that doctors would rather cut off a leg than treat the diabetes, and take out tonsils than treat the sore throat because they're greedy. The doctor who tells us that you take your kid to the hospital for a breathalyzer when you can't breathe. That's Dr. Obama. And now he's telling us that you all who are losing your insurance, you millions of people, you had cut rate plans. They stunk, and you got them from bad apple insurers. Bad apple insurers. Evil people who were okie-dokieing you. They bamboozled you. You thought you had good insurance, you liked it, but you're an idiot. No, those evil insurance companies took advantage of the fact that you're stupid. So it's good that he lied for 3 years. Got it? Let's go on to cut 14.
Before the Affordable Care Act, the worst of these plans routinely dropped thousands of Americans every single year. And on average, premiums for folks who stayed in their plans for more than a year shot up about 15% a year. This wasn't just bad for those folks who had these policies. It was bad for all of us. Because, again, when tragedy strikes and folks can't pay their medical bills, everybody else picks up the tab.
You know what? I have to be reminded. Please, let's slide 38 in there one more time. Is he lying again to us? Is he lying again to us?
It's not a lie if you believe it.
All right. Well, I don't believe, but I guess if the person's saying it, Dr. Obama in this case. And then he finished up yesterday in Boston with cut 15.
Now, If you had one of these substandard plans before the Affordable Care Act became law, and you really liked that plan, you were able to keep it. That's what I said when I was running for office. That was part of the promise we made. But ever since the law was passed, if insurers decided to downgrade or cancel these substandard plans, what we said under the law is you've got to replace them with quality comprehensive coverage. Because that, too, was a central premise of the Affordable Care Act from the very beginning.
I would call him a snake oil salesman, but I don't want to offend snake oil salesmen. I mean, it is pathetic. Now, if you had one of these substandard plans, you could keep it until the law was passed. Huh? And if insurance companies decide to drop that plan because it was substandard, don't you understand? Here's the truth. The truth is there are 10 that plan because it was substandard. Don't you understand? Here's the truth. The truth is there are 80 you need maternity coverage. You get it? If a insurance plan that you currently have or had and you love doesn't have all 10 requirements, then by law, Obamacare law, they have to drop it. They have to dump the policy. That's why millions of people are getting cancellation notices. And Obama knew this. Obama knew this. There's a story now today at Forbes.com that the White House itself, people within the White House in 2010 predicted that 93 million people would lose their health plans under Obamacare. 93 million. That's what they want. All right, we're coming back. Susan Ferrecchio, chief congressional correspondent for the Washington Examiner, will join us, and we'll be joined by Terry Jeffrey, and he has another list of liberal disasters that are all on tap coming our way on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is...
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C.-based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also join our advisory board staff. Every day our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join Lignet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Wow, you look great. Thanks. I've lost some weight. What's your secret weapon? Actually, I do in fact have one. Really?
If you're looking for help in your weight loss efforts, remember this name, Metabio. It just may be the edge you've been looking for. Metabio is the nutritional weight loss breakthrough power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. Metabio supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. It helps maintain your optimal weight and wellness when used as part of a healthy lifestyle. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Metabio. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/offer for complete details. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Practical Guide to Healthy Weight Management. Learn how you can try Metabio for 30 days at themetabio.com/offer. That's the metabio.com/offer. Hurry, only while supplies last at themetabio.com/offer.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Yes or no, has an end-to-end security test on healthcare.gov went live, yes or no?
I will find out exactly what testing they're doing. I know they're doing simultaneous testing as new code is loaded.
Are there any end-to-end security tests run after every... Are there any end-to-end security tests run after every the boundary?
But I will get you that information.
I can tell you they're not, and I'd be interested to hear why not.
Yeah, there you go. Mike Rogers grilling Kathleen Sebelius at the hearing yesterday. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is our friend Susan Ferrecchio, Chief Congressional Correspondent, Washington Examiner, who wrote a couple of pieces yesterday about the testimony of the HHS Secretary. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
It's always my pleasure. All right, so I mean, what an embarrassment! What an embarrassment!
It's really interesting too because I think both sides tried to claim victory. Republicans just let the Sebelius testimony just kind of sit with the public, and then the Democrats said, "Well, geez, the Republicans look like they were really attacking her, and they kind of portrayed her as this damsel in distress there, sitting at the witness table." But I think what matters most is the words that she said and how they resonate with people, and it did come across as somebody who was really having to play defense against a lot of really, evidence that the law itself right now is exactly what she said. It's currently coming out as a debacle. I mean, we don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but at this moment, it's a real liability for the Democrats. You could see and hear that yesterday during the hearing.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it, it's the computer and the website, just the I mean, I can't wait for Saturday Night Live this week.
The split screen, right?
The split screen where the computer was crashed, and she said it's never crashed. The nonsense that she can't dump her insurance because she's a federal employee and take sign on to the exchanges because it's against the law. I mean, all these nonsensical things. The security, it was never tested, and now we find out, all kinds of things from the networks who have talked to confidential sources within the Congress and things that they know about, that Sebelius and everybody else was warned. This system was tested a week before with 200 people and it crashed. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Right, so there's two big issues here, Steve. There is the issue of wasn't telling the truth or didn't understand what was going on. So you have incompetence or you have dishonesty. So you have that issue. But what could become even more important here is this law going forward. It's people and their ability to be insured and to be insured affordably. And if that falls apart moving forward, if no one is able to get affordable health insurance despite the full intent of the law, that's where the real disaster strikes for the architects, the Democrats, because people are going to be really upset. We're hearing the anecdotal evidence. We're hearing about tens of thousands, millions of people losing their health care. Democrats say this is just a small percentage. It's just 5% of all the insured people. But moving forward, if people are finding this thing is not affordable and that they're losing what they said they could keep, which is their doctors and their health insurance, I think that is even far more serious than the glitch-filled rollout.
Absolutely.
They can fix over time.
Right.
You can't fix the substance of this law over time if it's just not workable.
Absolutely. And you know, let's go back to what the president said yesterday in Boston. I want you to hear a soundbite, which I'm sure you're well aware of. I mean, this spin after lying to the American public for 3 years plus, this spin that, oh, no, here's what I really meant, is just pathetic. And here's cut number 13.
One of the things health reform was designed to do was to help not only the uninsured but also the underinsured. And there are a number of Americans, fewer than 5% of Americans, who've got cut-rate plans that don't offer real financial protection in the event of a serious illness or an accident. Remember, before the Affordable Care Act, these bad apple insurers had free rein every single year to limit the care that you received or use minor pre-existing conditions to jack up your premiums or bill you into bankruptcy. So a lot of people thought they were buying coverage, and it turned out not to be so good.
I mean, this is just, you got to be in the second grade to buy into this garbage.
You know what's really surprising to me, when he first started talking about it, I listened with feeling really uncomfortable, just wondering how on earth is he going to explain the situation. And then when he said what you just played, I just thought, wow, that's, you know, they're really gunning for, you know, the spin factor, as you said, just saying, wait a minute, it's really not what you think.
It's not what you see. It's not what's happening. It's what I'm telling you see and what's happening.
Yeah, and you started to hear it yesterday morning at the beginning of the testimony when Democrats started talking about, I think Henry Waxman, who's the Republican from Democrat from California. Yeah. He's a top Democrat on the Energy and Commerce Committee, and he said he opened the hearing by saying, you know, these were bad plans anyway, so people aren't really losing anything worthwhile. He said these were bad plans, and who would want that anyway? In other words, everybody who is now out, has lost their insurance, why would you want those plans anyway? That's the spin that the Democrats are putting on this to just sell it to the rest of the public. And the other argument they're making is that this is just a real fraction of everyone. In other words, you can just write these people off because they only make up a very small portion. I think what's becoming evident, though, to the public is that this is really a redistribution of health care costs more than it is about giving you the kind of coverage that you haven't had before at a more affordable rate. That's a lot different than what the administration was selling. People thought they were getting something for them. In fact, they're having something taken from
Absolutely.
them, and that's what it's about.
We're talking to Susan Ferrecchio, Chief Congressional Correspondent, Washington Examiner, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm reading, there's an article from Forbes magazine today, or Forbes.com possibly, that says the federal government, there was a report, an obscure report buried in a June 2010 edition of the Federal Register, and administration officials predicted that, and this is back in 2000, Register, and administration officials predicted that, and this is back in 2000. Now, right. I mean, and to, like you said, to belittle the people who have it or make a mockery out of them. Now, right. I mean, and to, like you said, to belittle the people who have it or make a mockery out of them coverage. I mean, it's insanity, totally insane. And the poll out today, Wall Street Journal, NBC coverage. I mean, it's insanity, totally insane. And the poll out today, Wall Street Journal, NBC, they didn't have the full effect of the Obama lie and the new Obama spin, you know, the lie being talked about. And they didn't have the full effect of the Obama lie and the new Obama spin, you know, the lie being talked about in this poll.
Yeah, it certainly does take the shine off the president. He's often, here's what I thought.
Did in this poll.
Yeah, it certainly does take the shine off the president. He's often, here's what I found, that even when people don't like what he's doing, his own personal likability seems to go from that. Even when people don't like what he's doing, his own personal likability seems to go. Today shows that his likability is really taking a hit. And I think that's where you're seeing real penetration. Today shows that his likability is really taking a hit. And I think that's where you're seeing real penetration, or that we're not really liking the president himself. That's the real danger zone for President Obama, or that we're not really liking the president himself. That's the real danger zone for President Obama. Great guy, even though maybe he may not like his policy on this or that. So moving forward, as you say, the next round of polling that incorporates his new spin on who gets to keep their health care plan, I think it will be one of the most telling polls that we see on the president, and it could really define him going forward, unless this health care law sorts itself out and looks better for most people. We really don't know that yet.
Well,
we don't know what's going to happen with this yet.
Well, let me ask you this, Susan. I had Senator Ron Johnson on, and he's got a "if you like your health care insurance, you could keep it" bill in the Senate. And I read somewhere today that Mary Landrieu is also interested in that legislation. So might that bail the president out? Could they pass that if you have insurance? Well, I mean, it's too late already. I mean, I don't even know how you would do that when people are getting canceled.
Yeah, you can't backtrack with it. That's the problem. Maybe if they pass something right away, there's two questions there. Well, first of all, Mary Landrieu is in trouble because she voted for this health care law.
Right.
So she better get out there and act like she's trying to do something. She's going to become a lot more vulnerable. She already is vulnerable. Secondly, how will this thing work technically? How are you going to, I hear their argument that they're making. I think it would still be tricky to pull off, even if you were able to get support to pass the legislation. Part of the problem here is if you keep picking at the law, you undermine the premise that everyone signs up for the Affordable Care Act and makes it affordable for everybody else. So the administration is trying to protect that. That's why yesterday you heard when they said to Kathleen Sebelius, why not just delay this a little more so people can't even log on? And she said, in techno speak, that, we have to give a firm number to these health insurance companies. And she didn't say what would happen if they didn't. Well, if they didn't, people's health care costs would go up even more. So they're really in a catch-22.
Yeah. Just total insanity. Let me ask you about something else, and that is Cory Booker sworn in today in the U.S. Senate as the senator from New Jersey. And I'm sorry, I still blame Chris Christie, because Chris Christie could have kept a Republican in there until next November. But of course, he's running for president, so he's trying to make everybody happy, and he just felt it's what Frank Lautenberg, the late senator from New Jersey, would have wanted, is what he said at the time. Frank Lautenberg would have wanted the people to select his successor, and that's why he called this special election. Now we got another Democrat in the Senate.
That's right, and part of the reason he did it, too, is about the primary schedule and protecting his own bid for the ballot, as you say. And once he runs for president, if he does run for president, he's very popular in the state. There's no threat to his re-election there. But if he runs for president, then his whole demeanor and what people find appealing about him is this sort of populist approach to things. So to do what he did with Cory Booker, more along the lines of, I am a bipartisan person. I mean, in a way, he would. One of the reasons he would be an appealing candidate is people are so sick of the gridlock in Washington. You certainly get that sense by looking at the poll numbers for Congress that are almost in negative territory. But then you have this Republican Chris Christie who comes across as popular. Like, I'm thinking of the people, not just of the party. And so I think for someone running for president, that's a much easier sell than Ted Cruz, who Republicans they really like from the base level, but who would have a much harder time on the general ballot because they tend to be a little more polarized.
No, absolutely. But Christie, of course, would have to win primaries, and his latest is, and I live in New Jersey. His latest is, I was never against in-state tuition discounts for the children of illegals, even though he has always been against it. And now he says, I was just against it because we didn't have the money coming in. So now we have the money coming in. Cut my property taxes. What are you giving it to that for? All right, one other issue here, and that is Benghazi and I think think it's Benghazi. I think you got Rand Paul, who says he's not going to confirm the new head of the Fed. He's going to hold up that nomination. I think that's over Benghazi. I'm not sure. And Lindsey Graham is going to hold up nominations over Benghazi and not having access to witnesses. So where's that going to go?
Well, the Rand Paul one is actually he wants to audit the Fed.
Right.
And with the Fed is not.
Oh, you know what, Susan, you know what? Well, that'll be for another time. I let the clock get away from me.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet. So heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet. So who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Sardines and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. So they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. So they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you're Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
I used to sleep like a baby. Now I have to get up in the middle of the night just to go to the bathroom. And not just once.
Men, if you suffer from frequent urination, the inability to empty your bladder, a hesitant urine stream, or leaking due to an aging prostate, listen to this. Renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein believes this does not need to be an inevitable part of aging. After extensive research, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. For complete details, visit prostaterevive.com/offer. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Learn how you can try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/offer. Hurry, limited time offer. That's prostaterevive.com/offer.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Is power.
Join Lignet for $1. Go to lignet.com/radio.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, and a very interesting interview with our friend Susan Ferrecchio of the Washington Examiner. Big topic now on CNN. They have this from 2012. From 2012, Mother Jones has this tape that Ted Cruz's father saying Obama's a socialist. Yeah, so. And apparently said, although I have not heard this part, they've been talking about it, that the left-leaning, that he should go back to Kenya or something like that. And so Ted Cruz's father is racist. Now, Ted Cruz's father is not white, I don't believe. I hear a Hispanic accent when I was listening earlier. And, of course, the host of the show on CNN is full steam ahead, Brooke Baldwin, saying that it's racist. You know, how can it not be racist? This whole thing is ridiculous. And of course, who cares what Ted Cruz's father? I mean, did we used to talk about Bill Clinton's brother and Hillary Clinton's brother? Should we bring up Hillary Clinton's brother and his history and his past when she runs for president? I mean, give me a break. You want to start talking about relatives? Ted Cruz's father is not Ted Cruz. But if Ted Cruz thinks that Barack Obama's a socialist, fine. Now, whether you believe he was, if Ted Cruz's father believes he was born in Kenya, that doesn't make him racist. So if he believes he was born in Kenya and says go back to Kenya, that doesn't make him racist either. But that's for another time. Right now we're joined, ladies and gentlemen, by our friend Terry Jeffrey, the editor-in-chief of CNS News. And Terry, welcome, sir. Always great to talk to you.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
It's always our pleasure. Okay, so what a disaster. What a disaster. But you, talking about Obamacare, you say that this the ACA rollout is not the only liberal disaster for Obama. And, you know, you look at his poll numbers and these poll numbers that have him down at 42% approval rating in the NBC Wall Street Journal, they were all taken. Those people were questioned by October 28th. So they didn't even get the full effect of the yes, he lied from the news media and his cockamamie explanation yesterday.
Yeah, you know, it's ironic. The one time when Obama's approval rating was up was right around November of last year.
Yeah, right.
For America, maybe. But, yeah, his approval was down pretty low earlier last year, and it's down low again. I think basically you have almost about 60% of the country who chronically are unhappy with what he's doing.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And in that poll, 70% of the American public say it's headed in the wrong direction. The country, that is. So where else? I mean, he's now going around today. He was talking about foreign countries investing in the U.S. Earlier in the week, he was talking about how we need immigration reform. He's just not stopping.
No, look, I think the guy wants to drive us as deeply as he possibly can, irretrievably into socialism while he's president. I think he's very sorry he doesn't have both houses of Congress like he had back in 2010. But in my view, he's got some very weak Republican leaders he's dealing with in the House. And I think after what happened on the shutdown debacle, I think it was a debacle from the way the Republicans caved, he thinks he can get more out of these guys.
Where do you think we're headed? Because here we are. I haven't heard anything about talks going on. Maybe it's just me. And guess what month is coming up? November. And then eventually we're going to be back to, to the debt ceiling and the keeping the government open. So I don't know if they're talking now or they think they're going to wait to the last minute come next year. But what do you see the Republicans gaining, if anything, heading into the 2014 elections? Will it be a referendum on this cockamamie Obamacare, or will there be a lot more included?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I think that all of the horrible things that are unfolding with the rollout of Obamacare are fixing in people's minds how outrageous this really is. And there's more to come. There's a lot more to come. And, it was calculated that they did not want to implement Obamacare until after the 2012 election, until after President Obama could run for re-election without having to deal with the actual implementation of it. There are other elements of it, Steve, that really won't hit people until after the 2014 elections. So in an ironic way, it's a good thing that things are so disastrous right now, so people are getting a taste of it. And it also is an indication of why they delayed the employer mandate, because had they gone ahead with the employer mandate, there's no doubt that a lot of businesses in this country would be downloading employees onto the exchanges, as well as downsizing their employee full-time roles.
Yeah, well, a report
that's going to hit after the 2014 election.
Right. There's a report in Forbes today that the White House knew in 2010 that 95 million people would lose their insurance under Obamacare. Very quickly, we have about 30 seconds. You've invoked the FOIA request on Kathleen Sebelius to get the numbers on how many people have enrolled, correct?
I have, and I just put up a piece right now. I was looking through the Obamacare budget request, the CMS budget request. Believe it or not, part of it is to allow CMS to data mine the exchange budget request. Believe it or not, part of it is integrity of programs that redistribute. That's their verb, Steve. Redistribute tens of billions of dollars.
Terry, I'm up against a hard break. We'll do it again real soon. Thank you. Terry Jeffrey, ladies and gentlemen, editor-in-chief of CNSnews.com. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, not unbelievable. Nothing's unbelievable anymore. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you at... Attention, anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES to learn about a special program that has been created just for you. In this solution kit, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found in this risk-free kit have not only normalized their blood sugar, but have stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing your diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and get information about 3 specific actions to take right now today that normalize your blood sugar and get it under control in 4 weeks or less. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and find out now, while this revolutionary information is still available risk-free. That's toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. 855-500-DIABETES.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm Kathleen Walter. Immigration reform is once again taking center stage in Washington. President Obama delivering remarks at the White House today calling on Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform.
It's good for our economy. It's
good for our national security. It's good for our people. And we should do it this year. Obviously, just because something is smart and fair and good for the economy and fiscally responsible and supported by business and labor and the evangelical community and many Democrats and many Republicans, that does not mean that it will actually get done.
The Senate has passed a bill which would provide a path to citizenship for millions of undocumented immigrants, but only after they pass a background check and pay back taxes and a fine. The bill has not yet been taken up in the House. Congressional hearings are underway into the troubled Obamacare website used to purchase health insurance. The Energy and Commerce Committee is looking into why the website is slow and unresponsive for millions of Americans. Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius will not be testifying, but is visiting an Obamacare call center in Arizona instead.
It's our job to hold them accountable. And when it comes to Obamacare, clearly there's an awful lot that needs to be held accountable.
The problems with the website have prompted the White House to change the law. Now, anyone who purchases insurance by March 31st of 2014 will not have to pay a fine. 38 years after the murder of Martha Moxley, there is another twist in the case. Michael Skakel, a Kennedy cousin and the man convicted of killing her, is getting a new trial. Skakel is the nephew of Robert and Ethel Kennedy. In 2002, he was convicted in the 1975 murder of Moxley, his 15-year-old neighbor. He has maintained his innocence all along. Police continue investigating the murder of a Danvers, Massachusetts school teacher. The body of 24-year-old Colleen Ritzer was found in the woods behind her school. Police charged 14-year-old Philip Chisholm with her murder. They say they arrested him based on statements that he made and because surveillance video captured him assaulting her in the school. Last night, the Boston Red Sox held a moment of silence for Ritzer before the start of Game 1 of the World Series. The Red Sox defeated the Cardinals last night at Fenway Park in Game 1 of the World Series. The score was 8-1. Game 2 is tonight at Fenway, beginning at 8:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coming up, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich lambasted the Obama administration for secret Obamacare meetings in a Newsmax exclusive. Plus, it looks like a light stick figure running around, but that's actually a 22-month-old with a very creative dad. We'll explain why this unique Halloween costume has gone viral on YouTube.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
And welcome back. In a Newsmax exclusive, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich predicts that Obamacare will collapse by January. The host of CNN's Crossfire, seen here this summer, says the Obamacare rollout has been a multi-million-dollar disaster.
I think everything we're seeing about this rollout is very disturbing. The very fact that I'm talking to you on a day when the president's staff is going to be meeting in secret with the insurance companies should worry every American. What kind of deal is being cut? What kind of story are they agreeing on?
And finally, a toddler stick figure Halloween costume has gone viral on YouTube. Roy Soutane of Huntington Beach, California, made the suit out of LED lights and Velcro for his 22-month-old daughter, Zoe. After posting a video on YouTube of Zoe in her stick figure suit, it's already gotten more than 1 million hits. And remember, for more exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. This has been your Newsmax Now update for October 24th. Take care.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, hour number 2, Thursday edition. By the way, happy Halloween. Could you tell if you're watching on Newsmax TV? What a costume, huh? Now, if you're listening on the radio, I'm not allowed to tell you what that costume is. So, you just have to use your imagination. But this costume is pretty amazing. I must say so myself. Very proud of this costume. Okay, what if I told you that Iran had reached the point of no return and could make a bomb in 2 weeks? 2 weeks. You'd laugh at me. You'd say, you, whatever, so-and-so, nut job. Well, I'm sorry, it's not me. It's a man who knows what he's talking about, unlike me, I guess is what I'm implying. And joining us now is Olli Heinonen, fellow at the Kennedy School at Harvard and the former IAEA deputy director. And Mr. Heinonen, it's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's
happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween. I don't have a costume on, by the way. I'm just making believe. Anyway, so how do you come to your conclusion, sir, that Iran is that close and that capable of actually making a bomb?
First of all, it can do if it wishes to do so. So they have the capabilities. Under certain conditions, they can go as quick as in 2 weeks to produce uranium hexafluoride, which is weapons grade. But we ought to keep in our mind that this doesn't mean that they have a nuclear weapon yet. That will take some additional time.
But they can't. But am I accurate that you say they have the ability to enrich enough missile-grade uranium to build a bomb in 2 weeks? Correct?
No, this is then you have uranium after 2 weeks. But you still need to manufacture the components of the bomb.
Okay, and that would take how long if they decided today they wanted to do it?
Maybe 1 or 2 months, depending which are the preparations.
Okay, so do you believe that the United States is aware of this? Do you believe that Iran has any intention of ditching this program and just using nuclear power for electricity and energy needs?
Well, you ask many things, but let's start from the very beginning. Intentions are very difficult to measure, let's be honest on that. But at this point of time, if we look in a very cool technical way, Iran is producing enriched uranium, which it doesn't really need for its current nuclear program, civilian nuclear program. So it appears from that more that they might be hedging or building a capability, perhaps either to go to that route or be better positioned to the negotiations with P5+1.
You served on the IAEA for what, 27 years?
Yeah, that's true.
God bless you. That's a long time anywhere, and 27 years. So you've seen it all. And so if you had to state your belief, so you would say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'll ask you, do you believe that Iran has every intention at this point of making nuclear bombs?
I don't think there is a hard evidence to that end, but there are a few questions and few concerns which have been raised by the international community with regard of some military-related activities which they have. And I think it's important that we understand what they are. Are they really for the development of a nuclear weapon, or are they for some other purposes? And before we have facts on hand, I don't think we can go either way and say that, yes, it's clearly a nuclear weapons program, or it's a program which is looking what you need to do if you want to develop nuclear weapons, or is it third only hedging, or fourth just for the civilian purposes. I think that the jury is still out for that.
We're talking to Olli Heinonen, former IAEA Deputy Director, and he, as we mentioned earlier, is a fellow at the Kennedy School at Harvard, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Would you have any advice for the nations negotiating, or for President Obama specifically? And also there's a report today that the Ayatollah's health is in some question, and that might be cause a power struggle at the top of the Iranian government. So with all that into consideration, I don't know how political you want to get, but would you have any advice in the negotiations? I mean, do you lean more towards Benjamin Netanyahu and their position that says, don't trust them, or do you lean more on Obama's position and John Kerry, who say, we should not increase the sanctions, we should soften the sanctions?
Actually, I would count more on Ronald Reagan, who said trust and verify. So the facts are the ones which are needed, and I think it is an important juncture in various ways, because there is a change in the leadership in Iran on one hand, and they seem to be more open for the discussions. At the same time, we see that the sanctions are biting. And the third thing is that they are increasing these enrichment capabilities with such a speed that they really reach this capability that if they want to go to nuclear, they really can do. So this is time to do now and discuss a serious deal. But we have to keep in our mind that what this all is, that we need to start from the clean slate, which means to me, we need to understand what's the nuclear program, what really is there, is this all what we see, is this all what Iran has in terms of nuclear materials and enrichment capabilities. And therefore, any step from here onwards should start with full, complete declaration from Iran, what is their nuclear purpose program, and which are all the aspects of that.
And let me ask you, sir, having said that, let me ask you, if I may, if you feel that you want to speak on it, there's a report today that Syria has destroyed or rendered inoperable all of its declared chemical weapons production and mixing facilities, which meets a deadline set by the international community. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, which won the Nobel Peace Prize earlier this month, said that its teams had inspected 21 of 23 chemical weapons sites. The other two were too dangerous to inspect, but the equipment, they say, had already been moved to the other sites. Do you buy that Syria now has had all of their weapons facilities inspected, and that they're going to destroy everything that they had already originally had?
Well, this is an important milestone, but what still remains to be confirmed, that this was indeed all the capabilities, and whatever materials they had now presented to the international community, this is all, and there is nothing left. So the work is not even half done. We are in the very beginning. It's an encouraging beginning, but the real investigative work remains in the front of that organization.
And do you believe, sir, that it's possible to know what Syria had? Because there was a month or 2 month period, even between the point where the United States threatened military action and then this agreement was worked out with Russia and Syria. So they had all kinds of time to move these weapons, even to another country. They could, have the inspectors in Syria for all they want, but then theoretically they could always move back some chemical weapons, correct?
That's true, and this is a very painstaking process, but this was done successfully in Iraq and also in Libya. And what you ought to do there is to go back to the whole production history of those chemical weapons, identify all the R&D people, institutions involved, make a complete historical stock, and then combine that with the information which you have from outside, intelligence, procurement, etc. And then you put this whole picture together. And if it is consistent and there are no gaps, you can, to a certain level, assure that everything has been declared. But this is still months, if not years away from today. It's not a quick process. We saw it in Iraq, and we saw it in Libya.
Well, Olli Heinonen, a fellow at the Kennedy School at Harvard and former IAEA deputy director. A pleasure to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure. Okay, folks, there you go. Very interesting. And I was just reading from a story when I said that its nuclear weapons program could have the ability to enrich enough missile uranium grade to build a bomb in just 2 weeks. Anyway, so it's a month. But anyway, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio, 877 Newsmax.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES to learn about a special program that has been created just for you. In this solution kit, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found in this risk-free kit have not only normalized their blood sugar, but have stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing your diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and get information about 3 specific actions to take right now today that normalize your blood sugar and get it under control in 4 weeks or less. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and find out now while this revolutionary information is still available risk-free. That's toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. 855-500-DIABETES.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from... This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from... I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space, I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 94. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. 516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700% payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify.
Payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your 5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the... Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Tear down this wall. One day live in a nation where they just tear down this wall. One day live in a nation where they your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
94.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Oh. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All of this is in place right now. All of this is in place right now.
Leadership struggles that have dogged the president.
The public had high hopes for his second term. His 52% job approval rating in our January poll was near an all-time high for him. But it didn't take long for things to go south. It began with the IRS Benghazi investigations on Capitol Hill. Then the still ongoing embarrassing Edward Snowden NSA leaks, raising questions about how much the president may or may not have known. In September, more of a slide because of the president's indecision on whether to attack Syria. In September, more of a slide because of the president's indecision on whether to attack Syria. 42%, getting close to George W. Bush territory.
Woohoo! George W. Bush territory. And the bad news continues for Barack Obama. Now, when that's at NBC News, I think that was Chuck Todd actually doing that voiceover in that report. I can't be 100% sure. But you know, when the left starts, getting on Obama, things are bad. And let's listen to Anderson Cooper calling out Van Jones. Van Jones is on the. It's a what? Anderson Cooper calling out Van Jones. Van Jones is on the. It's a what? What on earth is CNN thinking? What on earth are they trying to become? What on earth are they doing over there as far as remaking the network? Just incredible stuff. All right, here's Anderson Cooper, cut 27.
So extreme and so severe that we can't tell the difference between high crimes and misdemeanors and exaggerations in a glitchy website.
But wait a minute, but it goes beyond just glitches
and exaggerations in a glitchy website.
But wait a minute, but it goes beyond just glitches.
No,
I'm not.
There's no enemies list.
I'm moving on from the Nixon thing, but I don't think that's really firm ground. But on you're calling what the president said time and time again while running for office an overstatement. I mean, if it was Republicans saying that, sure. And wouldn't you say it was a lie?
Well, I tell you what I will say. I do think that the president was overly broad in his assurances to the American people, and I think that was a mistake.
Overly broad. I got several examples of what overly broad might mean. Overly broad, when you lie, you're making an overly broad statement. That's a great one. That is a great one. And by the way, the Nixon thing at the beginning, Newt Gingrich was also sitting there on CNN, and Newt Gingrich said that what Obama's doing is, I think he said, worse than Nixon. Now, the left laughs and chuckles and come on, I'm not even going to. But, you want to go back to Nixon. Nixon resigned. Nixon lied. About a break-in, a cover-up, whatever. He resigned before he could be impeached, in my opinion. He was never charged with anything criminal, so he lied. But he lied about a break-in. He lied about a burglary. Barack Obama lied to the American public about being able to keep their health insurance and keep their doctors. You tell me which is more important to you. A burglary? Or your health insurance, your health care, your doctor. So I think Newt makes a very good point, which the left poo-poos. But you see Anderson willing to take Van Jones to task. You got to get a bell. Every time I say that, I want to hear the bell ring. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is Piers Morgan of all people. Piers Morgan. Once again, I asked CNN, what the heck are you doing? But here's Piers Morgan talking to a Democratic congressman whose name escapes me, unfortunately, about Obama. And here's cut 29.
None of this, if it's not quite good enough and it gets changed, but just boldly telling people, if you want to keep your doctor or your plan, you can. That was just a lie, wasn't it? A complete.
Of course it was not a lie, Pierce. Just to the contrary, that people can keep their plans. Plans are grandfathered. If the insurance companies want to offer if insurance companies want to continue to offer lousy plans that don't have good coverage and cost a lot of money to the taxpayer or to the insured, they can.
Plans are, first of all, that's Frank Pallone. I just didn't remember. Frank Pallone, who I was inducted into the Boat Jumpers of New Jersey, the Boat Jumpers organization, an Italian-American organization. I was honored. I was roasted on the same night that Frank Pallone was honored and roasted about 3 years ago. I think I've mentioned this several times. But give me a break. So these plans, Frank Pallone is telling us quite the contrary. Obama didn't lie. Quite the contrary, which would mean he told the truth big time. Really? So these plans are grandfathered in. It's the insurance companies deciding that they want to drop these plans? Baloney. Accent on the bull. These companies are dropping their plans because, as Obama said yesterday, and I wish Obama and Pallone would, I wish Pallone could keep up with Obama, because Obama said yesterday that these were substandard, rotten apple plans, and that's why they got to go. Substandard, and these people who had them, like you idiots out there that had them, you're idiots because you've got these substandard plans. In other words, Obamacare mandates, nothing's grandfathered. If only they were grandfathered, then you could keep them. But you can't, because the insurance company can't offer them because they don't meet the new requirements of Obamacare. So Frank Pallone is lying. Obama's lying. They're all lying. Qua's lying. Obama's lying. They're all lying. Quite president doesn't. Do you? Oh, man, I'm telling you. 2014 midterms, you think this is going to turn around? You think this is going to get better for people? You think when employers start doing away with employees' plans, the way individual policies are being canceled, you think that's going to be a plus for the Obama administration, for Democrats? This is the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. But the lie, they sit there and they lie with a straight face. They even go further than Obama went. Frank Pallone was going further than Obama went yesterday. If that's true, what Frank Pallone said, then why didn't Obama say it earlier in the day? Further than Obama went yesterday. If that's true, what Frank Pallone said, then why didn't Obama say it earlier in the day? You could keep it. It's just the insurance companies deciding for whatever reason to cancel. Yeah, for whatever reason, because they're not grandfathered in, and they're being forced legally to cancel them. That's quite a difference. Frank Pallone, Barack Obama, the Democrats think that you are a moron, that you are so stupid that you can't possibly understand what's really happening, when in fact it's quite simple. All right, folks, we're going to go spinning the law with Kendall Coffey. Again, it's Thursday on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES to learn about a special program that has been created just for you. In this solution kit, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found in this risk-free kit have not only normalized their blood sugar, but have stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing your diabetes. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and get information about 3 specific actions to take right now today that normalize your blood sugar and get it under control in 4 weeks or less. Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Call toll-free 855-500-DIABETES and find out now, while this revolutionary information is still available risk-free. That's toll-free 855-500-DIABETES, 855-500-DIABETES.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also join our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, Lignet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, Lignet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on Lignet's assessments. Lignet members receive unrestricted access to Lignet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. Lignet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what Lignet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable Lignet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join Lignet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Service. You have the right to remain silent, but we'd prefer if you didn't.
Spinning the law, spinning the law.
This is Malzberg's
Spinning the law.
Spinning the Law.
Spinning the law, spinning the law.
With attorney Kendall Coffey.
Yes, indeed, do. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. One of our favorite times of the week as we go spinning the law. I thought that was going to be like throughout the whole interview. We'd have that that music. Do we have Mr. Coffey, sir? Mr. Coffey. No pun intended. Okay, as soon as we get him, we will bring him to you, and we're going to talk about some interesting cases. In one case, remember the pillowcase rapist? The pillowcase rapist. Christopher Hubbard terrorized much of the state of California back in the 70s and 80s, convicted of raping 38 women during that time, and this is all in the Los Angeles and the Bay Area, including on the Monroe Middle School campus in San Jose. And last week, a judge ruled that this man can reside in a northern Los Angeles County community when he's released from a state hospital. He's going to live amongst families in the general population. A man who raped 38 women. How could he ever get out of prison? How? Well, that'll be the first question that I asked to Kendall Coffey. Then we have another case, if you remember, down in Florida, the woman who fired the shot through the ceiling or through the wall. She was serving 20 years in prison. The same prosecutor who decided to prosecute George Zimmerman for second-degree murder prosecuted this woman, an African-American woman, never did anything against the law. She fired a shot into a wall during a fight with her husband. She will get a new trial in March and can argue next week to be released on bail. It's Marissa Alexander. So that's another case we'll talk about with Kendall. And Texas appealing after a federal ruling on the state's new abortion law, ruled that part of the abortion law is unconstitutional. And it's an odd part to me that they ruled unconstitutional. We'll talk about that. Also, the NFL. Can the NFL office be a non-profit organization? How on earth does a entity, a multi-billion-dollar entity like the NFL, have its office registered as a non-profit? I don't get that. I don't understand that. But maybe Kendall Coffey could explain it to us. Hello, Kendall Coffey.
How are you? And happy Halloween, Steve.
Happy Halloween. Are you wearing a costume, or are you going trick-or-treating? Or what is a big-time, one of the most famous attorneys in the world, what do they do on Halloween? Give out candy or what?
I'm giving out candy. The wife and I are giving out candy. We're both going to have a tape. We won't be too scary, but, and who knows, afterwards we may go looking for our own tricks or treats. You never know.
I don't want to go there, but that's okay. I also didn't want to sound funny asking you if you're wearing a costume. So we'll move on. But, all right, so let's get to this very serious matter. I mean, I know if I was living in the area where this man was being released to, I would freak. And I don't understand how this is possible. But the pillowcase rapist, who before you came on, I informed the folks, convicted of raping 38 women during the 70s and 80s in California. And he's getting out, and he's going to be able to move into a community of people, families.
Well, it's stunning. It's not a lot of consolation to the people in those communities. But in the 90s, the laws changed dramatically in a lot of respects. 3 strikes, you're out. A lot of protections put in for victims. But, back in the 70s or 80s, it was a different era. And victims had much less protection. And, of course, this guy was sentenced under the old laws. And now, why he's being allowed back in heavily populated communities, family communities, that's mystifying. There've got to be some desolate, bleak areas somewhere in the country, maybe where it's very, very cold and people are much less at risk to others that some judge could have found for them. But you can certainly understand why with this horrible career, and by the way, with somebody who's convicted 38 times, Lord only knows how many times they committed the crime.
Right, and he was arrested several times and released while he was doing all this stuff, too.
Yeah, and again, why it's being reported that officials have deemed him safe. I don't know how that's possible.
That's what I'm saying,
anyway, it's stunning. I'm sure for some it's terrifying. The only consolation is that this kind of thing is hopefully rare, and that modern laws wouldn't allow a guy like this to be out except coming out of prison in a wooden box.
Yeah, well, they are appealing it. The district attorney out there in L.A. County is going to file a formal complaint with the judge, and the public has until the end of November to submit written complaints, but I don't know what that's going to do. All right. I sent you this late, but we've talked about this, and it appears that, it's true, that the Florida woman, Marissa Alexander, who fired a shot into the wall during an argument with her husband and was tried and prosecuted and sentenced to a mandatory 20-year sentence in jail, although she had no criminal record, by the same overzealous prosecutor who charged George Zimmerman with second-degree murder down in Florida. She's getting a new trial, and she is going to argue to be released pending that new trial next week.
Yeah, and having gone through it, I think the appellate court did find some significant issues with the trial. No one said she's innocent. There are two sides of the story. There's a very sympathetic side, which the defense has presented. There's a very different side that, of course, the alleged victim testified about, and the jury believed the alleged victim. But I think looking at this one, a new trial seems to be the right decision, Steve. And there's also got to be some examination of whether this case was overcharged to begin with. I don't think anybody observing it, not even the alleged victim, thought that a 20-year minimum sentence was a fair sentence. No one was hurt. Discharging a firearm is certainly something that has serious consequences. But 20 years seem to be too much, and a fair trial seems to be a fair and new trial seems to be the right direction for this to go.
We're talking to Kendall Coffey here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Spinning the Law. Of course, Kendall, the author of a great book called Spinning the Law, which you should definitely check out. All right, let's move down to Texas. And Texas officials are appealing a decision that was made Monday by a federal court. A district judge saying that a provision in the strict abortion or anti-abortion bill, I should say, in Texas violates the rights of abortion doctors to do what they think is best for their patients and would unreasonably restrict a woman's access to abortion clinics. I think the judge was objecting to the part that said that doctors have to be affiliated with a hospital in order to perform the abortions. Do I have that right?
Well, that is definitely one of the issues, that the term that advocates of the law would say was abortion doctors had to be admitted with privileges in a nearby hospital within 30 miles. And as you know, one of the things that establishes credentials for a doctor is to be granted privileges to practice at a local hospital. That's not automatically done. It's not lightly done. It's not as easy, frankly, as getting admitted to the State Bar Association. It's a significant validation of your professionalism and ability to be granted privileges to practice in a hospital. And apparently a number of the doctors that perform this kind of procedure don't have those privileges within 30 miles. The Texas legislature has said that it's a requirement. And the judge, following what is the law as of today, presumably made the right decision under existing law. But advocates of these kind of laws, they're not simply trying to thumb their nose at the U.S. Constitution. They have a very thoughtful strategy for picking particular issues. Constitution. They have a very thoughtful strategy for picking particular issues. Definitely going to be some thoughts about chipping away at some of the existing precedents. So this is part of a long-term legal strategy that no one should dismiss. The outcome of this particular issue at the lower court level is not surprising, but what's going to happen when it someday, as this one very well might, gets to Washington and the 9 Supreme Court justices look at it, much harder to predict.
Yeah. All right, Kendall, let me ask you about this. I don't understand as a sports fan or someone who's covered it for many years. I had no idea, and I don't know if this is typical of other sports, but I would doubt it. The NFL headquarters on Park Avenue, where the league is run out of, where their official offices are, and all that kind of stuff. It's classified. It has status as a nonprofit. Now, the league isn't nonprofit. The billions of dollars they take in is not nonprofit. The equipment the uniforms they sell, the jerseys, the paraphernalia, that's not nonprofit. So how does the office of the league that runs this huge, unbelievable, multi-billion-dollar successful business, how do they make that office nonprofit, and really, why would they want to?
Well, there's no consistency here. I mean, apparently the National Basketball Association does not have a tax exemption. It's being reported that the National Hockey League Association does have a similar kind of IRS exemption. But the explanation is going to be, look, when you're talking the billions of dollars, it goes overwhelmingly to the teams. The team owners pay taxes. They don't have any kind of exemption. And that a mere trade association office, your local office, you're a chamber of commerce, you're a business development, or your local office that's advocating for doctors. Typically, those kind of organizations are not taxable for-profit companies. What's a little different here is that the NFL is not, a football organization. In the sense that anybody who's involved in football, it's for them. It's like a public interest for a football thing. To the contrary, it's really the hub of private ownership, and so this is getting a lot of attention. Do stockholders get paid dividends from the NFL profits? No, but if it's generating $255 million in revenue, and for example, the commissioner of the NFL is reportedly getting paid, almost $30 million. Yeah. There's a lot of money splashing around somewhere, and maybe all of us who don't really love paying taxes would like to see some of them pay taxes. So I think some members of Congress are going to look at this. Yeah, it's baseball always has that antitrust exemption, which has always been bizarre to me, and now to find out, I didn't know that about the NHL. Thanks for doing the research on that. But this just seemed I couldn't believe what I was seeing or hearing. Anyway.
way. Kendall, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. Enjoy the giving out of the candy and your own little escapades of trick-or-treating with your lovely wife.
Okay, thanks a lot, and have a great evening.
All right, you too, Kendall. Take care. Kendall Coffey, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that's bizarre. That is really bizarre. I mean, the NFL, there are 32 teams which collectively pay more than $250 million in annual membership dues. And it's a nonprofit? The whole thing is bizarre. And the NHL, I mean, they are much smaller in scope, financially speaking, but nonetheless, they should be taken to task, too. Come on, raise your hands. I said taken to task. They love when I say that. All right, folks, we're coming back. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Jennifer Rubin of the Washington Post right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
Steve Malzberg Show.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Obamacare, President Obama's massive healthcare law, is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already a New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare311.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Wow, you look great. Thanks. I've lost some weight. What's your secret weapon? Actually, I do in fact have one. Really?
If you're looking for help in your weight loss efforts, remember this name, Metabio. It just may be the edge you've been looking for. Metabio is the nutritional weight loss breakthrough power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. Metabio supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. It helps maintain your optimal weight and wellness when used as part of a healthy lifestyle. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Metabio. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/offer for complete details. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Practical Guide to Healthy Weight Management. Learn how you can try Metabio for 30 days at themetabio.com/offer. That's the metabio.com/offer. Hurry, only while supplies last at themetabio.com/offer.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
And final segment of hour number 2 of the Thursday edition, Halloween edition, let's call it, of the Steve Malzberg Show. Not that we're doing anything different. We welcome in Jennifer Rubin, Washington Post columnist, author of the Right Turn column. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Welcome back. Appreciate it. Okay, so you wrote a great piece today talking about how analyzing the NBC Wall Street Journal poll and why the numbers are what they are. And I think that Republicans should be very encouraged.
They should be. I think they shouldn't rest on their laurels by any stretch of the imagination. They, after all, are pretty much down in the dumps with some exceptions. I think what they have to do is keep the focus on Obamacare, not on themselves, meaning don't repeat the shutdown scenario. And secondly, keep offering something that helps to improve their own image. Practical, concrete steps that could help the middle class, help poor Americans with upward mobility. Mike Lee gave a great speech this week at Heritage, which I wrote about, which is very constructive, very forward-looking in terms of the sorts of policies conservatives can get behind, which I think are not only going to improve their image, but make some good policy sense. So I think
go ahead.
Keeping the focus on Obamacare and coming up with an affirmative policy is a way for Republicans to really get back in the game here.
Absolutely, and I just don't know why they don't, come out right now and say, and actually pass this in the House. Come out with one page and keep your kids on the plan until they're 100. Donut hole closed, no pre-existing conditions, and a few other points that people, do seem to like and does make sense. And say, here's the new bill, we're passing it, and so they could say they passed something instead of just not being proactive, and they haven't been proactive for quite a while.
I totally agree. When I ask these questions of people, they give me one of several answers. One is, well, lots of people have introduced bills, to which I say, well, that's great once you pass one of them. And the next is, well, we should have lots of ideas. Well, yeah, you should have lots of ideas. And then pick one.
Right, put them in a bill, right.
Right, and then the third, well, we should have lots of ideas. Well, yeah, you should have lots of ideas. And then pick one.
Right, put them in a bill, right.
Right, and then the third thing, all they have to do is critique the other guys. This was in large part Mitt Romney's problem. He thought all he had to do was show that Barack Obama is not a good president. It's not enough. You have to be yourself somewhat appealing to the population, and you have to offer things that they think are going to be better. Otherwise, they're just going to stay. That's the way human nature is. That's the way inertia is. So I think it's a mistake not to do exactly what you said. As you say, I think, frankly, all the bills have about 5 things in common. The items that you named, allowing interstate insurance sales,
yes.
Allowing individual purchased insurance to enjoy the same tax preference that employer-provided insurance gets you. These are simple things. They've been in the lexicon of Republicans for years now. Just put them all on a piece of paper, pass them, and move on. And that way they will deflect the obvious comeback, which is, well, at least we're trying to do something. What are you guys doing?
Right. And
it's not a bad comeback right now because the Republicans aren't doing anything
else. I couldn't agree more. They should just put it all on a bill and get it done already. All right, now, you also wrote today about how the newest game in Washington is to debate which which one of Obama's statements is the actual lie, which I find pretty amusing.
It really is. I mean, I went back. Something had been sticking in my claw for a long time that I had remembered back from the
Healthcare Summit, right?
Healthcare Summit, right, which was back in 2010, February of 2010, that Obama had talked about this issue about losing your insurance, about not getting to keep what in some cases is catastrophic coverage, meaning a low-cost, high-deductible coverage. It was very popular with young people, healthy people. In fact, my family did it that way last year. We actually saved a bunch of money. And this was not something that suddenly came to light. This was something he actually knew and understood, and there was a whole back and forth between him and Eric Cantor, in which Cantor really nailed him on this point. And Obama basically came out and said, well, you don't really want those crappy plans. We got something better for you. And then he went into this mode where he was lying time and time and time again, saying, you're going to keep your plan, you're going to keep your plan. No, they weren't. And, this is the big lie. And he finally got caught in one of these. And to my delight, the mainstream media finally woke up to what we've been saying for 3.5 years. Republicans aren't confused about this. This is one of the things we've been complaining about, that he was going to drive people out of individual insurance and herd them into these exchanges,
right,
where you have highly regulated health care. So I think it's a little bit of a reminder maybe to the mainstream media that maybe they should just, every once in a while just look at conservative media. They may find some stories that they have missed or not covering. And secondly, I think it's quite the comeuppance for not only Democrats, but for the president. Nancy Pelosi told us we'd have to pass it to find what was in it. Well, we knew what was in it, but I guess for them, they did have to pass it to find what was in it. And now a whole lot of people think it stinks, and it does.
Yeah, no, absolutely, without a doubt. All right, and that was great stuff because you provided in your column, which folks could check out at WashingtonPost.com, the actual transcript of what was said between Eric Cantor and Barack Obama. It's really fascinating to look back at that. I'm glad that little red light went off in your head. Jennifer, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Steve.
Take care. Jennifer Rubin, ladies and gentlemen, columnist and right-turn author at the Washington Post, WAPO, whatever you prefer to call it. When we come back, Jillian Melchior will join us, National Review investigative reporter. She's back with us to talk about fraud in the Affordable Care Act exchange. Back with us to talk about fraud in the Affordable Care Act exchange as well, to talk about what's going on in Syria and elsewhere. All that straight ahead in hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show. Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S. specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet, the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm Kathleen Walter. Immigration reform is once again taking center stage in Washington. President Obama delivering remarks at the White House today calling on Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform.
It's good for our economy. It's good for our national security. It's good for our people. And we should do it this year. Obviously, just because something is smart and fair and good for the economy and fiscally responsible and supported by business and labor and the evangelical community and many Democrats and many Republicans, that does not mean that it will actually get done.
The Senate has passed a bill which would provide a path to citizenship for millions of undocumented immigrants, but only after they pass a background check and pay back taxes and a fine. The bill has not yet been taken up in the House. Congressional hearings are underway into the troubled Obamacare website used to purchase health insurance. The Energy and Commerce Committee is looking into why the website is slow and unresponsive for millions of Americans.
When it comes to Obamacare, clearly there's an awful lot that needs to be held accountable.
The problems with the website have prompted the White House to change the law. Now, anyone who purchases insurance by a school teacher, the body of 24-year-old Colleen Ritzer, was found in the woods behind her school. Police charged 14-year-old Philip Chisholm with her murder. They say they arrested him based on statements that he made and because surveillance video captured him running around, but that's actually a 22-month-old with a very creative dad. We'll explain why this unique Halloween costume has gone viral on YouTube.
Investments and homes value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints do not have to be a normal part of aging. Holistic doctor David Brownstein challenged conventional thinking to focus on natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the premium nutritional supplement specifically formulated natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the nutrients. Learn more at limbexjoint.com/special and take the 30-day Healthy Joint Challenge. That's a 30-day supply of the Limbex Joint Supplement. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Happy, Healthy Joints at Any Age. You can do something about joint discomfort and flexibility. Learn how you can try it for 30 days at limbexjoint.com/special. That's limbexjoint.com/special. limbexjoint.com/special.
Tonight we are a country awakened to danger and called to defend freedom.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
And welcome back. In a Newsmax exclusive, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich predicts that Obamacare will collapse by January. The host of CNN's Crossfire, seen here this summer, says the Obamacare rollout has been a multi-million-dollar disaster.
I think everything we're seeing about this rollout is very disturbing. The very fact that I'm talking to you on a day when the president's staff is going to be meeting in secret with the insurance companies should worry every American. What kind of deal is being cut? What kind of story are they agreeing on?
And finally, a toddler stick figure Halloween costume has gone viral on YouTube. Roy Soutane of Huntington Beach, California, made the suit out of LED lights and Velcro for his 22-month-old daughter, Zoe. After posting a video on YouTube of Zoe in her stick figure suit, it's already gotten more than 1 million hits. And remember, for more exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. This has been your Newsmax Now update for October 24th. Take care.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, hour number 3, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, just when you thought you've had enough of Obamacare and the fiasco and it couldn't get any worse and the lies couldn't get any deeper and the incompetence couldn't get any more incompetent, for lack of a better term, here comes Jillian Melchior, and she, of course, is National Review investigative reporter who joins us once again in the studio. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're giving up your Halloween afternoon for us.
Yeah, I have.
Think of all the chocolate bars you won't be getting because you're sitting here. Not that I've had a chocolate bar, by the way, crew. I know I haven't given any out either, but chocolate bar would go a long way right now. Anyway, so you wrote a great piece about the red flags concerning the operations of a company known as Serco, a British-based company. The North American division got one of the largest contracts to work on the Obamacare insurance exchanges. Explain what their contract is for them to do, and what you found out.
Yeah, so this is a company that's been given a contract worth more than $1 billion to handle paper applications for the Obamacare insurance exchange.
So this is separate from the website?
Separate from the website,
Yeah, okay.
And actually more important now that the website isn't doing well, they're going to be getting higher traffic. However, what I discovered is this company has red flags pretty much everywhere you look. So in Great Britain, they're being investigated right now for potentially overbilling the British government. It's them and another company, and they're saying it could be up to $80 million or more. There's also an investigation going on into whether or not they falsified performance records to make it look like they were doing a better job than they were. They run a detention center for immigrants in Britain, and in the last month, several women have come out saying they were sexually assaulted, sexually coerced at this firm run by Serco, the Obamacare contractor. And I just think that's a lot of red flags.
You would think it's a lot of red flags, but when we look at the competency level of the people who are running the Obamacare website that were given these contracts, and Michelle Obama's buddy, the president of one of those companies, nothing should be surprising. But before we digress into that, you talk about how public records, which are available to anybody out there in the media who cares to do a job, show that this Serco, they wanted this contract and they lobbied for it and they entertained and fought hard and got it.
Yeah, I think that really is a cynical explanation, but probably a true one for why they ended up getting the contract that they got with the history that they had. And if you look at it, over the last couple years, they've spent more than $1 million on lobbying and political activities. They gave to the Obama campaign. And the other thing that I find really interesting is specifically for lobbying for the Affordable Care Act, they ended up hiring this guy, and get this, he had been working on Capitol Hill, had participated in working on the health law, left for the private sector, started lobbied for Serco, and within a very short order managed to get himself investigated for insider trading.
Wow.
That's the guy they have pushing for them for this contract.
It's insane. I mean, did you reach out to the administration or whoever the heck is responsible for, because no one's responsible, and of course Obama knew nothing, so it couldn't be him. Even if you had access to him, he wouldn't know what you're talking about, naturally. So who was responsible for this, and have you gotten any explanation from them?
I have not gotten much in the way of explanations. I called CMS.
In Melchior, and she, of course, is National Review investigative reporter who joins us once again in the studio. Good to
in recent history in Britain's detention center. And then on top of that, in Australia, where they manage detention centers, within the time that Serco got the contract to do that for the Australian government, if you look at the records, you see that inmates there, detainees there, had been self-harming at a much greater rate. They can't cope with the overcrowding, the bad conditions in there. And Serco is supposed to be submitting reports to the Australian government on its performance. That's part of its contract. Didn't do it.
This is insane. Now, you write at the end that the Obama administration must have known about Serco's checkered history, even as it was being lobbied. I mean, there's got to be some
bad case in which the parents of the 6-year-old boy called in asking for medical advice. Serco's phone service said, put him to bed. You don't need to take him to the doctor. Well, the kid had a burst appendix, and he ended up dying. Then on top of that, they did a pathology service for the British National Health System as well. There are 400 incidents in which they had clinical mix-ups, blood and tissue samples. You had people getting the wrong blood. You had a guy get the wrong results for a kidney damage test. I mean, these aren't small mistakes.
No. And then, I guess we should be lucky that they're only, the contract was for what it was for. And not to actually, open up. Going to be joined by a former chair of the House Intelligence Committee, former Congressman Pete Hoekstra will be here. We'll talk a little bit later some World Series. The Red Sox winning the World Series. There were some seats going for $24,000, at least a couple, because it had been over 95 years or so that people hadn't seen a World Series victory clincher in Fenway Park. Babe Ruth was in the outfield last time that happened. Anyway, we're coming back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You want to weigh in? 877-NEWSMAX, 877-639-7629. That's the number right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio. Don't go away.
Medical Dr. David Brownstein. Back2Pro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Back2Pro. Only Back2Pro.com/offer.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect
be given more responsibility and do to us what they've been doing, as you describe, overseas.
Sure, you've already seen
Over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-9... (949-8201). That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800...
That a company with that kind of background, a company, and I don't know about their guilt or innocence, but everything Jillian wrote in here is documented, and according to her, I mean, there's huge. All right, folks, we are back. It's the third hour, as you know, and Congressman Pete. I mean, give them more money now too. Promote everybody. It's just crazy. Lining all over the produce aisle. Just imagine what it's going to be like, moms and dads, when our kids are begging us to buy them fruits and vegetables instead of cookies, candies, and chips. Here's Elmo. All right, that's Elmo. I don't know if that's the a little press conference or not. But, okay, so what day is hell freezing over? That's the day. Lining all over the produce aisle. Just imagine what it's going to be like, moms and dads, when our kids are begging us to buy them fruits and vegetables instead of cookies, candies, and chips. Very interesting. Now, I believe Elmo, as I said, was there. During the event, the First Lady stepped away from the podium to set with Sesame Street characters Elmo and Rosita. Rosita said fruits and vegetables are anytime foods. And then Elmo pointed out the fruits and vegetables and said that they were very colorful and a rainbow of food. That kids are going to start begging for fruits and vegetables and not candy and cookies and chips. Okay, let's mark that down. I'll mark it down now. When hell freezes over. Okay, got that down. Now, Hallmark. Does anybody buy greeting cards? Yeah, I still buy greeting cards. I got to tell you, that's the biggest waste. It really is. But, if you don't do it, you're not caring or whatever. You can be just as caring and care just as much. But if you don't buy a greeting card, it's like, what's wrong with you? You didn't send a card. So Hallmark, stays in business and makes a fortune. Anyway, Hallmark Cards is under fire because they changed a traditional line of A Christmas Carol to remove the word gay. Now, I thought there was nothing wrong with the word gay, but apparently Hallmark has a problem with the word gay. Today, it has multiple meanings, which we thought could leave our intent open to misinterpretation. Really? Really? In the context of the song? In the context of a line of the lyrics? A song that's been around and was translated in the 1800s? 200 years? People know what that line is? And you're telling me that the word gay could be misinterpreted within the context of that line of that song? Are you kidding me? What could I tell you? The Missouri-based company Switcheroo has not received positive reviews. As a supporter of gay rights, this sort of ridiculous action is what gives political correctness a bad name, said Star reader Patty Nolte, posting on a newspaper's website. Another poster named William Morris said, completely unnecessary. This has middle management terror written all over it. One commentator on Twitter said, do they support fun marriage? Ha ha! Folks, there's no way anybody can misinterpret Don We Now Our Gay Apparel on a Christmas ornament, a line from Deck the Halls. Gay in that context means gay, means happy. It is political correctness run amok. It's insanity. It's ridiculous. And I'm taking Hallmark to task. Now they're only nodding. See, now that I say it too much, now they're, yeah, all right. Now they're taking to task. All right, enough. Coming back with the Congressman on the Steve Malzberg Show. Oh, we got another minute. What am I doing? I stopped too soon. I don't know. I was busy taking someone to task and not getting the proper response. So I blew, the whole time frame got blown up. When does hell freeze over again? Because I'm waiting. Okay. What's that? My 14-year-old son insists on trick-or-treating. What can I tell you? With his friends, and they're not nerdy friends, or some of them are, and some of them are athletes, some of them this, some of them there, but they all trick-or-treat. I don't get it. I said, what are you going to wear? He said, nothing. I'm going like this. I said, well, you can't go like that. You got to at least put something on your face. Otherwise, why should they give you anything? So then I get to check the candy tonight and eat the chocolate. Shh. Don't tell him. He'll find out. Or he'll take me to task. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
I used to sleep like a baby. Now I have to get up in the middle of the night just to go to the bathroom. And not just once.
Men, if you suffer from frequent urination, the inability to empty your bladder, a hesitant urine stream, or leaking due to an aging prostate, listen to this. Renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein believes this does not need to be an inevitable part of aging. After extensive research, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. For complete details, visit prostaterevive.com/offer. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Learn how you can try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/offer. Hurry, limited time offer. That's prostaterevive.com/offer.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
3159.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
Yes, indeed, I am your captain here on the Steve Malzberg Show, and joining us right now is our friend Congressman Peter Hoekstra, former chair of the House Intelligence Committee, former congressman from the great state of Michigan. Hello, Congressman.
Hey, hi, Steve. How you doing?
I am fine and dandy, as George Carlin used to like to say, fine and dandy. But I got to tell you, this country is not fine and dandy. And the newest Wall Street Journal NBC News poll shows when asked, is the country headed in the right or wrong direction?
Not a surprise. You've got a lot of people that are still hurting economically. I think we've got the lowest workforce participation rate probably since World War II. Obamacare is floundering in its rollout, and if for those few people who are interested in foreign affairs, things across the world don't look all that good either. We look very, very weak. We look like we're a nation that is rudderless. People aren't sure where we're heading. If you don't know where you're going, people start getting nervous.
Absolutely, and let's talk about where we're going on the international front, and with this whole NSA, all these revelations that come out, and the brouhaha over the revelations that were spying on Merkel's cell phone and on foreign leaders throughout Europe, and people's phone calls in France and Spain to the tune of millions. Europe is up in arms. To me, well, let me ask you. Is this feigned anger? Doesn't everybody spy on everybody like Israel says?
Oh, absolutely. The problem here is there's a lack of leadership. Number one, that the NSA ever put America in the position where a single individual, a single analyst could take as much information as Edward Snowden accessed in a few months is unconscionable. The second thing is this drip is going to continue. We have no leader who's speaking forcefully, supporting the NSA and its capabilities. The loneliest man in Washington today, supporting the NSA and its capabilities. The loneliest man in Washington today. He did exactly as Congress asked and instructed him to do. He probably built the most powerful spy network in America and in the world from an electronic surveillance standpoint. And now that this stuff is coming out, there's no one standing with poor Keith. And it is true. I still remember going to France as chairman of the Intelligence Committee. I was told by my staff, now remember when you're in France, your hotel room will be bugged. They will try to surveil you on all your electronic equipment. They will follow you. Friends spy on friends, just to get whatever insights and advantage that they can. The only folks who have a formal agreement that they won't spy on each other are the Five Eyes, the United States, Britain, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. That's the only arrangements we have.
So isn't it more appropriate, or wouldn't it be more appropriate for this administration not to react, not to say, well, we're open to change. Let's try to change this, and let's see what we could do, and let's stop it if it's a. I think he's looking at this really as a great excuse to stop spying, to put us in a disadvantage, to put us in a hole.
I think you're exactly right. I'm very, very concerned about the arrangements that he will take the opportunity now to negotiate with other countries and saying, well, we won't do this, we won't do that. A forceful statement should have been right out of the box. Hey, there's going to be some uncomfortable things that come out of the Snowden revelations. But we do know that friends spy on friends. It happens all the time. It is one of the unwritten rules of foreign policy. It's done. People just don't talk about it. As I said on an interview with a German radio station, one of the things that's probably really infuriating to the Germans, whether we tapped into Merkel's phone or not, I don't know. It's possible, but the Germans are probably very, very upset that they put their chancellor in the position where she didn't have secure communications methods. That's
right.
The problem.
Yeah, we're talking to Pete Hoekstra here on the Steve Malzberg Show. That's what I'm afraid of, and you're absolutely right. They knew what Snowden got. Again, if there's any competence there, and I'm not sure that there is, but they had to know everything that Snowden got, or at least what he was capable of having, and they should have been out and taken the lead on it to prevent every revelation, the drip from blowing up to becoming a major story. And the reaction should be, hey, you know, we're doing what we have to do to keep ourselves safe, and friends do spy on friends sometimes, and that's it. Instead, now we're going to have hearings, and it's, you know, to me, it smacks of dismantling the CIA interrogation program. Now, you know, now we won't spy on certain people, but they'll keep spying on us, all right.
No, that's exactly right. You know, and you know, now the members of Congress are running for cover, saying, "Well, we don't know. We didn't know that we were perhaps listening into."
I mean, Dianne Feinstein is on the Intelligence Committee in the Senate.
Right,
you were the chair of the House Intelligence Committee. Could the members of Congress on either of those committees not know?
Well, they could if they are. You know, here's what happens: you'll get briefings every once. Well, number one, you'll get a briefing and you'll understand what Five Eyes means. It means there's 5 countries that have agreed not to spy on each other. That then, if you're listening to the testimony, it means everything else is fair game. Then every once in a while, you'll be in a briefing, and you may get some very, very, you know, detailed conversations or discussions about the very specific conversations that took place between, you know, heads of state. And you'll say, oh, obviously we're listening into those folks. You know, so you probably don't get a briefing that says, of the other 160 countries out here, we have, you know, active good surveillance on 40 of them, and these are the 40. You just know that we're out there getting everything we can from the people that we think we need to get it from.
Right, and so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, what?
No, I mean, you know, it's crazy for members of Congress to be claiming ignorance on this, unless they weren't at the briefings and unless they didn't, you know, put 2 and 2 together when they were getting these briefings. And a lot of this stuff was not much more complicated than 2 plus 2.
So I'm not going to, you know, I've heard Dick Cheney asked about this, and he, you know, he defers to not, you know, to national security, and you haven't given away any secrets either, but any classified secrets either. But so in your position as the former chair of the House Intelligence Committee, none of this comes as any surprise to you, and you would fully expect, or you're probably fully aware that when the President of the United States gets on a phone, he can't just be on his cell phone. I mean, he has to expect it's going to be tapped into or traced or whatever the heck the terminology is, listened into. I mean, they take precautions for the president, don't they, to make sure he's on either a secure line or he's careful about what he says, right?
Oh, absolutely, sure. I mean, you know, they don't put him on any line and just say, hey, you know, hey, here's my cell phone, make the call. When he's talking about issues of national policy and those types of things, anything that may be helpful to a foreign country, he's on a secure line. It's protected, and if someone gets in, they're very, very good. But the expectation there is it's our responsibility to protect his communications, because we know that there are all kinds of folks who would love to tap into his line and find out what's on the mind of the President of the United States. And that includes our friends in Europe who are so outraged by you know, finding out that this might be going on, and they're doing exactly the same thing. Maybe they're just not as good as what the NSA was.
All right, so let me ask you this. You know, here we have a president who now, you know, Saudi Arabia, for their own reasons, has basically dumped the United States. You know, we don't have a relationship with Egypt anymore because the president insists on befriending and supporting the Christian-killing Muslim Brotherhood, and we did a report on that at the top of the show, where you know, CBS News did it yesterday, and just horrific stuff going on there.
Yep.
But where you know, CBS News did it yesterday, and just horrific stuff going on there.
Yep.
But foe alike. Here at home, his poll numbers are down to approvals down to 42%, and that doesn't include people being asked from the 28th on, which means they missed this whole, you know, networks actually saying Obama lied about keeping your insurance, and then Obama's cockamamie explanation. So he's isolated abroad, he's isolated at home. We're losing friends by the you know, I don't know what to say, by the minute. Yeah. And so you know, is he really without allies? You know, abroad and at home, basically, right now? Is he a man who's, I don't want to say on the run, but is he a man who's isolated both here and abroad?
I think that's exactly accurate. He really doesn't have any friends overseas. Obviously, the Europeans are angry. Israel's angry. You know, the folks in Egypt, all across. I mean, he's rewritten America's foreign policy, and not very successfully. You know, it's going to take a real rebuilding effort by the next president to reestablish America's presence, overseas and make us a power and an influencer again for good and effective policy. I mean, I think people, Russia has reestablished. I mean, it's a terrible position. And then you're going to see the Democrats start bolting from him in Congress very, very soon. They're facing the 2014 election, and they're not going to want to be paired with this president or his record. Hillary Clinton has already left because she's getting ready for 2016. She didn't want to stay any longer. He may be friendless, but he's not. He will still be a very, very powerful individual to work he will still be very effective in trying to get done what he wants to get done through his use of executive power.
Yeah, and that hasn't stopped. And I just wish the Congress would take him to task in their own way, censure or whatever. To quote Kathleen Sebelius, whatever. Because when he picks and chooses which parts of which laws to enforce and what not to enforce, and changes unilaterally effective start dates, et cetera, whether it's on the health care law, Defense of Marriage Act, welfare reform, the work provision there, deporting illegals. I just wish there was a way for Congress, if they had any guts, to take him to task for this.
Well, you've got a very divided opposition to the president. They only control one house of Congress, but most importantly, perhaps, is that Republicans right now have never figured a way to confront this president and confront all of the decisions that he has made as president unilaterally without any involvement from Congress. And you hit some of the big ones there with immigration, health care, and those types of things.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Congressman, as always, great to talk to you, sir. We'll speak to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Have a great day.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. You too. That's Congressman Pete Hoekstra, former chair of the House Intelligence Committee, former congressman from the great state of Michigan, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we return, and if you want to weigh in, the invitation's always there. It's always there. It is a never-ending invitation. 877-NEWSMAX, 877-639-7629, 877-639-7629. But when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the World Series, and we'll also let you hear some sound bites that I'm sure you'll be interested in hearing, because we have the best right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So, again, 877-NEWSMAX. And I know yesterday some people did email and call and say, what happened to Rand Paul? He was supposed to be on today. I did say that yesterday. He will be on with us next week. Something came up, but we will speak to the senator next week. So good memory for you folks out there on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Have you hit a brick wall with your weight loss? Does your weight management plan need an extra edge for success? If so, listen up. Metabio is the revolutionary weight loss breakthrough designed to help you reach your goal weight as part of your diet and exercise program. Metabio is the premium nutritional supplement power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. When used as part of a healthy lifestyle, each component is formulated to help you reach your goals and maintain your optimal weight and wellness. It supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. Now, learn how you can try a 30-day supply of Metabio. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/special. Act now and also receive instant access to our downloadable special report, a practical guide to healthy weight management. Try it now at themetabio.com/special. That's the METABIO.com/special. While supplies last. themetabio.com/special.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Manager of the world champions. How does that sound? How does that sound?
Well, it sounds great to everybody that's in this ballpark. I know that. I'd like to just congratulate Mike Matheny, the St. Louis Cardinals, on a great season, one tough team, a great series that we played against them, and all the best to them going forward. But most importantly, to these guys in uniform over here, to be able to come to work with them every day, to see how they prepared, the work that they put in, and to share it in front of everybody here, the greatest fans in this sport. It's one heck of a night. Thank you.
And it was one heck of a night for manager John Farrell of the Boston Red Sox and for the entire city of Boston. I think let me express myself properly here so as not to ruffle anybody's feathers unnecessarily, because I don't mind ruffling feathers when I intend them to be ruffled or expect them to be ruffled. I think I rooted for Boston. I'm an American League guy, okay? I was glad for Big Papi. I was glad for John Farrell. I was glad for John Lester. I was glad for the city of Boston. And I think it was wonderful the way the Red Sox players were involved and dedicated the season after finishing, last place last year. Dedicated themselves in the season to the people of Boston, the whole Boston Strong, proclamation, and in the wake of the terrorist attack back in April, I think it was opening day at Fenway Park, or it was Patriots Day at Fenway Park. Right, it wasn't opening day possibly, or maybe it was April 15th if I'm not mistaken. Long story short. But I don't think so. So kudos to the Red Sox for what they've done for the city, for what they committed to the city from the get-go, and for giving the city the ultimate prize, the World Championship. I don't believe, though, that this means anything. Well, maybe it does. I shouldn't say, because I don't know any of them. I don't think this makes up for the terrorist attack. I don't think this makes the lives of the victims any better. And maybe they were all guests of the Red Sox last night, anybody who wanted to go, any of the victims who could go and wanted to go. I don't know. But just on the surface, without knowing that, and just hearing the media talk about how this goes a long way in healing Boston, I don't think so. I think the healing is that the games were played. I think the healing is that Boston never missed a beat. I think the healing is just like New York. I think the healing is that Boston, went on with their lives where possible, came together, rallied around after that horrific attack, and then the bizarre chasing of the suspects and the whole thing that unfolded. But I don't think this heals Boston. It was the Red Sox players. It was the city on the day after going about their business and reaching out to the victims and talking about the victims and capturing, as the police did, the terrorists. That is what healed Boston. Having Boston function today like Boston functioned on October 31st of last year before it all happened. That's what healed Boston. That's what that going on with life as close to normal as possible is what healed Boston, not succumbing to the fear of the terror and the terror itself. That's what healed Boston. The victims will never be healed. And so I don't think that if the Red Sox had another last place finish this year, I still think they would have gone a long way towards healing Boston because they would have played their season. They didn't shut down Fenway Park. They didn't say, oh, nobody could come in anymore. We're going to have to, search you with dogs or anything like that. That's what healed Boston. If the Red Sox had lost in St. Louis in 5 games, they still would have healed Boston. The bus driver who drives the bus, the people who get up and go to work and ride the trains or the subways, whatever they have there in Boston, the transit system. The people go to work and ride the trains or the subways, whatever they have there in Boston, the transit system. The people and the cops on the beat, the firefighters, they healed Boston. The people healed Boston. The Red Sox winning the World Series does not help to heal Boston. It's great for the city. It's a wonderful story in the wake of the horrific terrorist attack. But the healing of the city, the healing of the victims, if you will, does not jump up from, X amount to X plus 17 or 18 or 20 or because Boston won. It's because Boston persevered from the beginning. That's just my opinion. David Ortiz, Big Papi, how could you not love him? And how he took to the microphone after the attack and stood there at Fenway Park and said, this is our effing city. And he had, a couple of years ago, they were writing David Ortiz off. He's the MVP of the World Series. He batted, I thought it was over 700, but they say he batted .688. He reached base 3 or more times in 5 of the games. He walked 8 times. He had a tremendously huge home run. Had a grand slam early in the playoffs. So congratulations to the Red Sox. They gave Boston a huge pick-me-up. But Boston healed itself from the day of the attack on through today, and they'll continue to heal. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.